He's got 1 HP. This is fearsome. The weather outside is frightful. Oh, the fire is not strong enough!
In the last Pokken Basics, I talked about neutral, which is controlling space when neither character is right next to each other. I mentioned one of the universal goals of neutral is to force the opponent towards the corner or the wall. Now that we have a consistent game plan for field phase and understand what neutral is in general, it's time to use the concept of the wall to create a strategy for how to approach dual phase as well. If you take anything away from this video, let it be this. You want the opponent at the wall because it makes them easier to hit, and being away from the wall makes you harder to hit. There are 3 main reasons why this is the case. First is movement. When you have empty space behind you, you can maintain the correct distance for your attacks to make contact. Conversely, when your opponent's back is to the wall, they cannot move backwards or jump backwards to avoid your attacks. They also cannot maintain the correct distance for their own attacks to hit, as you can freely move around the screen, making their attacks whiff and allowing for whiff punish opportunities.
We got whiff punish out here?
The second reason is the risk versus reward. Risk reward is weighted heavily in the favor of the player who has control of the wall. Wall splat combos do massive damage and grant either hard knockdowns or wall blast into field phase depending on what you want. For example, a stray flare blitz does 160 damage and gives poor positioning from mid-screen. But in the corner, it leads to 285 damage and a wall blast that removes recoverable HP and lets you control the start of the next field phase. The last benefit to having an opponent cornered I'll talk about is psychological. Cornered opponents, knowing they cannot move, often get scared and make rash decisions to escape without thinking them through. This means when trying to predict what an opponent will do, you can eliminate some evasive options such as jump back, walking back, or backdashing. In turn, you can emphasize trying to avoid people jumping out of the corner and throwing out desperation pokes or armored attacks.
No! I'm ready this time, I'm ready.
So how do you take advantage of a cornered opponent? Walking up and throwing is the most direct way to get damage, but it is also the riskiest. Instead, more often than this, walk near the range where you can throw them and walk back out quickly into a range where you provoke an opponent to jump or press a button preemptively to avoid your throw. Poke at them with moves that keep you at a range where you can anti-air jump attempts and try to scare them as much as possible without overcommitting to moves that are unsafe or very negative on block. I've linked a video I made a while ago on corner control in the description. Now I've gone over 3 great benefits to cornering the opponent and what you can do once you have them there. If you ever find yourself in dual phase and don't know what to do, or even field phase honestly, aim to put your opponent near the wall first and foremost. So how do you get the opponent to the wall? How do you stop yourself from getting pushed to your own wall? With a good ground game. The next chapter of Pokken Basics will cover footsies and spacing, which both help you maintain proper positioning on screen and avoid the walls and push your opponents there. And don't worry, it won't be 2 months before the next chapter comes out.